Tesla stock is under attack. It started light and then it got really bad. Peter Zeihan is a well-known geopolitical strategist, and he predicted what happened to Ukraine last year. He predicted that years before it happened. And 220,000 people watched this video, and you will not believe the things that he said about Tesla.
And it's time to talk about electronic vehicles and why they are not going to be an appreciable part of our transport future for at least the next decade, probably closer to 3. First and foremost, from a carbon point of view, EVs really don't stack up very well. They are among the most energy consumptive projects that humans have engaged in at this point. Even if you use Tesla data, which is biased and incomplete, they only deal with the battery assembly, and they assume 100% clean power for recharging your vehicle and 100% clean power for making the vehicle. They still say that on a standard grid that is 100% green, it's still going to take you over a year to break into some sort of neutrality compared to the carbon footprint of a conventional vehicle.
This right here is how much energy Tesla solar panels produced, and this is how much energy Tesla factories have consumed, and this is how much energy all Tesla vehicles used to charge. This is cumulative net energy from 2012 to 2021. And then here are the carbon emissions when we compare, for example, Model 3, even if you use grid charged power, no solar power at all, we can see that the average life cycle emissions are going to be a lot less than average premium internal combustion engine vehicle. This assumes that a lot of electricity is produced using coal. So even using coal to make the electricity, this is still a better option. I'm really trying to pick the worst example here because I picked China and I picked grid charging. If I cherry pick my example a little bit and if I look at the data from Europe, then we can see that it looks a lot better much sooner. Because electricity in Europe is made using much greener sources. Also, keep in mind that this is from 2021. We now have a factory in Germany. So when you make things locally, that will be much more productive. I know Peter likes facts and he likes data, and he must have only seen this part of data here, and he must have not seen this data over here. Maybe some sort of article somewhere. Maybe he did not look at this report. So it is incorrect to say that Tesla only shows you data that is based on Tesla using only solar panel or renewable energy and not using any grid charged energy. And if you like to read exactly how Tesla comes to these numbers, you may pause the video here.
Now, if you include the fact that almost all of the processing for all of the materials and all the mid-assembly is done in China on coal power.
Tesla already assumes that in the numbers I showed you. They say right here in China, much of a grid is powered by coal. That said, even in this scenario, charging a Tesla Model 3 or Y from the grid is still less emission intensive than running an internal combustion engine vehicle over its lifetime. We don't want to just look at 1 year, we want to look at the lifetime of a vehicle.
And if you include the fact that things like the frame, which doesn't go into their data, are made out of a silicon aluminum alloy, which is incredibly energy intensive, you're really talking upwards of 5 and maybe as many as 10 years.
You might find this shocking, but I actually agree with Peter on this one. Internal combustion engine vehicles, they do not have frames. Here's a proof. They do not have frames, so you can perfectly drive this car. It will work. This is what everyone drives. Everyone drives cars without frames. So therefore, for Tesla, we have to add that data for emissions when we are calculating it, right? Now, Peter is a smart guy. I'm not sure why he said that. It sounds weird to me.
So the numbers, at least for now, just aren't there from a green point of view.
It is not about the climate change when someone buys a Tesla. It's literally cheaper now to buy a Tesla after these crazy price cuts. And also you save money on electricity. meaning fuel. I know multiple people that own Tesla vehicles. I haven't heard a single one of them say anything about buying that car because of climate change. They are always telling me, oh, look how fast my Tesla is. Oh, look how cool this screen is. Oh, look, I can enter this vehicle without a key, just holding my phone, without touching my phone. It just unlocks itself. I walk away, it locks itself. And then they keep telling me how they can smoke anyone on a traffic light. Sure, there are some people that bought it because it's a green car, so to speak. If people made decisions based on being green, then cars like this one, Nissan Leaf, would have sold much more better. I don't see almost any on the roads, but I see a lot of Teslas.
There's also the cost issue. You can't get a lot of power, at least over sustained periods, from an electric vehicle that you can get from a more conventional system.
Yeah, I think that's a family SUV beating a Ferrari in a drag race. How is that lacking power? That internal combustion car is certainly lacking power. I mean, it's supposed to be so fast, but it looks so slow.
So right now, we technically do have the innovations and the technologies necessary to go EV for our light vehicles and our light trucks, passenger cars, small pickups, that sort of thing. But we don't have anything for the more powerful vehicles such as semis.
What is this? Certainly not a Tesla Semi driving 500 miles, fully loaded, weighing in at 81,000 pounds, so almost 40,000 kilograms, something like that. It's certainly not that, so Tesla Semi obviously will never work. And that right there is definitely not a Tesla Semi that has been delivered to Pepsi. Now, if being serious here, this one, I'll give it a pass. This just happened about a month ago, a little bit over a month ago, so this is not that bad of a mistake, really. It's a new development.
And even in those lighter categories, it's a bit of a question mark. So think about not just the environmental issue, but the economic cost. So the opening model for the electrified F-150, the baseline model is 90 grand.
90 grand? I didn't know that they are that far behind Tesla. Let's take a look. Oh, $55,974. You only get 230 miles of range, but it's basically $56,000, not $90,000.
But what the really big issue comes down to is whether we can do it at all from a physical point of view. Like, forget the cost, forget that these things are for the most part carbon bombs. Look at what it takes to make these things. If you want to make it a conventional vehicle, obviously the energy that is required comes from the fuel. But if you want to make an electric vehicle, you have to put in a much more sophisticated system that has a lot more material inputs, an order of magnitude more material inputs. The aluminum, the silicon, the graphite, and so on. And we need so much more of that if we're going to make this happen. We need at least double the amount of copper and zinc. We need at least 4 times the amount of chromium and molybdenum, or however you pronounce it. And we need at least 10 times the graphite and the lithium. The world has never been able to increase the volume of something that it needs, whether it's vegetable or animal or mineral, by a factor of 2 in a 10-year period at any time in world history in any technological age.
Lithium production by country from 1995 to 2021. As you can see, yeah, an increase. By how much? Global lithium production surpassed 100,000 tons for the first time in 2021, quadrupling from 2010. I think Peter is right. It's not a doubling. Maybe doublings do not exist, because quadruplings certainly exist.
But we're going to increase the amount of lithium that we kick out by a factor of 10 in 8 years? I don't think so.
I agree. I mean, it's probably going to be more than 10 times. As you can see here, the production just increased way too much. Too fast. Too much production. Not good. So, yeah, probably more than 10 times. I think that's reasonable to expect. That's just how the markets work. When there's an opportunity for someone to make a lot more money, people are going to do it. If they are not going to do it, I'm going to go into a lithium mining business. I don't mind.
Most Teslas that are on the road right now are not a first car or a second car. They're a third or a fourth car. They're status symbols. They're conspicuous consumption at the highest level, which means that we really do need to talk about Tesla just a little bit.
I did a poll. Is your Tesla the primary vehicle of yours or your household, or is it secondary or tertiary? According to Peter, we should see more than 50% of the people voting it is tertiary or beyond. What were the results? The results were not surprising at all. 83% of the people voted it's the primary car of their household. Pretty much every person that I know, the primary car is a Tesla. The only time it is not a primary car is if they drive a lot and they go on a lot of road trips, so they don't want to spend too much time charging. If they do that every single day, basically, then it's not their primary car. But in every other case, it is a primary car. And here, really, I should have added an option. If it's a tertiary car of yours, is a Tesla also, like, is it because you have free Teslas? I would expect that people would say maybe BMW, Mercedes, or whatever else is their other primary car. So I'm just joking here a little bit. But obviously, I don't think Peter is right on this one. Peter is certainly entertaining to listen to, but if I ever listen to Peter, I will want to double check every single fact that he presents or any assumption based on his facts. I will want to double check where the facts came from, and only then would I seriously listen to Peter after going through this today. And these are 48 reasons why I only own Tesla stock in my stock portfolio. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.